Hello, everyone. Over the last 30 years of being involved with youth sports, select basketball, private group training, program training, clinics, community clinics, consulting families, counseling families, moms, dads, players, and families, I have I've seen a lot of dysfunction at times that really has cost the family and the players their careers. It's very common in sports, like in other areas of life, for families to get disjointed. Throughout my 30 years, I've seen parents get divorced. I've been refereed. I've been the referee in families, which I'm not afraid of doing because my calling involves meeting people where they're at. I've seen fathers go against sons, sons go against fathers, parents go against each other. And throughout the years, I've seen most of the mothers are often the buffer. They're always in between the father and the child, trying to keep peace, and it's very disheartening. But I don't see it going away. The only thing that we can do, you and I, is address it because it can have a lifelong impact, negative impact on the child and the family. Now, sports, I always say that it's a game. All right, it's not life. Now, there's a lot of things that you can learn about sports that are relative to life and relevant to life, but for the most part, it's a game, and it has fans and it has different elements that are healthy tools for learning to help prepare you for life. But I think that sometimes when kids go into a sport, especially if they have to pay for it, or parents having to travel and take them places on the regular, I think sometimes what's lost in that commitment is the fact that we're family. You do this as long as you enjoy it, and when you no longer enjoy it, let me know. Now, I think that young players, they really try to give their best all the time, and sometimes they fall short. Even if they fall short a lot, I think that parents have to be reminded that they're still a parent and that this is an extracurricular sport, and that parents sometimes lose sight of the fact that their kids needs to see them, support them with their words. And it's kind of baffling to have to talk about when you think about, a player going into a game, he or she, and they do the best that they can and they fall short. Maybe they don't dribble enough or shoot enough or talk enough, or maybe they lack aggressiveness, and maybe they have a parent who was a basketball player or just a sports fanatic, and they just can't seem to understand why their child isn't doing the same things that they believe they should be doing. And I feel poorly or badly for the child that's in that situation, because a lot of times children go into practice and they go into games and they're still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to find their way, and it's a lot easier for parents who have, mature cognitive skills And it's a lot easier for them to sit in the stands and on the sidelines and pinpoint every little thing that a kid does or doesn't do wrong. But you have to remember that negativity doesn't always produce positivity. And I would say this, being a family man, it's not worth losing your family over. I've been the buffer on many occasions, and I don't mind. I mean, if that's what I've been called to do, but I want families to stick together. And I can tell you this: if you've got a parent, if you are a parent, and you're constantly in the ear and the head and heart of your child, and everything that comes out of your mouth is may be positive to you, but it might be negative to children. And if they're not built up enough to receive constructive criticism, it's going to always come across negative. 10 years ago, I trained a guy and a girl on different occasions, and they did pretty good in my gym. I thought they were very talented and very capable, and I felt like they had a career ahead of them, and they did. And but when they went to play in front of, in one case for the female, it was mom, and the guy, it was the dad. They when played, they always came back and said, "It's just never enough. It's just never enough." And the next thing was, "I feel like quitting." And I attribute that to just the parents just not having a clear understanding of what kids need in this day and time. Kids don't relate to how we did things when we played the game or the era. We're dealing with a different era. And this era of being a parent of a good athlete, it requires a lot more building up. And it may not have been as necessary when you came up or I came up, but it's more necessary today than it is or it was yesterday or the day before or years ago when you came up. So I want to encourage you you have to change your approach. You have to change your style, parents, and start looking at what motivates your child. And they live with you, and they're there with you more than anyone. Start paying attention to what they need, what motivates them. Change the manner in which you talk to them. Good job. Way to go. Hey, you know what? I saw you miss that shot, but it looked good. You know what I mean? Don't, when they get out of practice in games, don't let it always be, how'd it go? Because sometimes they're going to have a bad day. And when they start telling you, they're telling you with the idea that they're going to trust that when they get through talking, you're not going to beat them over the head again. But a lot of times, players, that's all they feel like. They feel like everything that comes out of their parents' mouth is negativity, and they don't want to be around negativity. And sometimes when they are not producing on the court and they have the right coaches, they have the right teammates, sometimes it's the parents. And I know that this is not a, beat up parent video. I just want you to know that, most of you have children who are really talented. And I think that in today's game, sports, they thrive on praise. And I think you have to affirm them more and tell them what they can do and not what they aren't doing. And sometimes you have to let them pave their own way. They're going to figure it out. That's why in here I always tell people we're gonna plow the fields and we're gonna sow the seed. All right, and we're gonna water it and we're just gonna let God, trust Him. All right, to do the rest. And I just encourage people when they miss. I said, hey, don't worry about that. The next one's good. Hey, we've got to keep hope alive. If you want to see them continue to play and to do well in sports, you got to continue to build them up. You got to feed them things that are going to make them feel like impaired, like I got this. Empowered. You got to build them up to where they feel empowered, to where they feel like, hey, man, you know what? If I miss, I'll shake it off. Even on the sidelines, I think as coaches, you have to go and tell people, each individual person at different times in the game, let them know, hey, you know what? You got this. Take that girl. Take that guy. You know what? On defense, hey, remember we talked about this? Hey, you can do that. You have to change your approach. and be enthusiastic about it so that they believe that they know that you believe in them. Now, I think that like select basketball has changed throughout the 30 years I've been doing this. The first 15 years was about making players better. Now it's about the team, it's about the coaches and their philosophy. But collegiate basketball and high school basketball programs, they're relying on select basketball programs to give their kids a chance to improve themselves. Who cares who wins it all? I think children are being hurt in some select basketball programs because they're not given an opportunity to make mistakes. And I think that is the perfect setting for young people to make mistakes. But I think you have to change your approach. And it's not just your way. It's just, hey, how can I, as a coach, make this girl or guy better? Well, you put the ball in their hands. You put them in a situation where they can have leadership. And then you bring them along slowly. When you take them out of a game, talk to them. Encourage them. Let them know you're going to get them right back in. So play as many games as you need to when it's time to play basketball, especially when we're not dealing with COVID. And just let them know, on my team, on my roster, you're going to improve. The things you've been working on over here, over there, in my gym, you know what? I want you to learn how to use that. And I'm going to put you in situations so that you can use that to continue to grow you. Don't put a lid on her or his growth and development, which is what I think a lot of times happens. But there needs to be an overwhelming degree of build-up from me, from my organization, from other youth sports training organization, select basketball coaches, as well as their high school and even middle school coaches programs. And we need to work in uniform, all right? That means that I like you, I want you to like me. Let's work together. Let's work in harmony. Matter of fact, pick up the phone. Call us and tell us, hey, Deon, hey, for my team, I'm going to need him or her to do it this way. Guess what? We know how to teach so many different styles that we welcome those phone calls or texts or send them with a pink slip. We'll send them back the way that we got them, but better. But parents, sports, as it relates to good families, it's gotten to be so dysfunctional to where most are on the brink of breaking up. Kids, they ride in the cars with mom and or dad, depending on the situation, and they can't stand to ride home with them. They like looking out the right mirror versus listening to the driver because they're so sick of it. And listen, I believe that if you want to see the best of your child in sports and academics and any extracurricular activity or whatever it is, I think you're going to have to empower them with words that build them up. And if you have a problem doing that, perhaps go get some counseling. I always tell people, to have a problem and not admit it, it's reckless to continue. But if you're going to be, even at a game, I always tell parents, don't go to the games and yell from the stands. All you're doing is messing up the play of the team, and you're giving your own family a black eye. And guess what happens? When you get into middle school and high school, guess what? Your reputation is going to precede you. And that's not the kid's fault, it's the parent's fault. Or I always tell parents, as much as I like them, sometimes I have to say things I hate to say. Would you like somebody to come into your place of business and yell at the top of their lungs in an environment that's, that doesn't welcome that? Being a fan, it has a certain degree of, I'd call it ethics. You don't get to say what you want as loud as you want to who you want because it's wrong. It's bad, and it hurts the play of the team as well as your child. And it gives them, they become so conscientious of it, they can't even focus on what the coach is asking them to do. Now, I wouldn't tell parents to stay at home. But if you can't keep your mouth closed, if you can't talk and speak as a fan, hey, let's go, team. Good job. Way to go. Even if you disagree, build them up, build a team up. At halftime, don't get with other parents and talk your kid down. And after the game, at the end of the day, give them some space. They need their own space. Most want to go out the back door and not ride with you. Why? because all they hear is negativity, negativity, negativity. Then they come to me in my 30 years of doing this and I have to build them up. They go right back and they get the same thing. And listen, some of you are CEOs, CFOs, and all kind of things. And you've got the credibility to be the best in your area of professional careers. But you got to remember, you got young men, young women, and they're your child. And they want to know that you believe in them. And listen, not everybody's going to be a WNBA or a professional athlete. And most won't. Most won't be a collegiate basketball player. But they want to play basketball. And they aspire to a lot of times, they just want to please you. But some think that there's nothing that they can do to please you. So how do you fix this? Well, number one, you have a team meeting, a family meeting, a huddle. And you agree to disagree, but you come up with a plan. And you admit your mistakes and your faults. And again, let's go back to biblical things. The golden rules. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Let's keep it simple. Would you want people to do that to you if you were playing? No. If you're the player and you're not putting forth the right effort and you're kind of dogging it and half-heartedly putting forth the effort again in that team huddle, you have to tell mom and dad, listen, let them know why you're playing the game. Is it just for fun? Is it because you want to be the best you can be and you want to go somewhere with it and you need their support and help and you want them to, continue to speak and work together in a harmonious manner on the court and off the court so that it can add value to you, your output when you play? Talk about it. Have an open conversation. And listen, try not to yell. That doesn't resolve anything. But the only way that you're going to get better is you're going to have to look at what things are out of whack. I don't agree that parents should go to games and tell their players what to do. I don't believe that they should yell to the degree to where it's causing everybody on both sides of the stadium to ask, what's wrong with him? It hurts everybody. It hurts the sport. I think it's unethical to do that too. Nobody wants to sit around people that do that. They move. They talk behind your back. And you guys are, those who are perpetrators of this kind of stuff, you guys are wonderful people. It's just that it's like some people in gambling, they have a gambling problem. And I think that some parents in sports, they have a problem being a parent in the stands. And it's going to cost you, and it's going to cost you and your family resentment. Your children are going to resent you for it. And I don't think that it's worth that. I don't think sports is worth any child resenting their wonderful, gifted, and talented parents who love them so much. But if you have a problem, such as a gambler would have, get some help. But you can start by praying about it and asking God to help you to not be that way. You with me? But your children, your family, it matters to me. And I want to add value to this wonderful game called sports by asking, we all have a place in it, but let's do our part respectfully. Coaches, you guys rock. You're going the extra mile all the time. But listen, build them up, man. Remember, you have a responsibility to do the best you can to win, but not at the cost of not developing that player. You have the most important job of any of us, and that is to make sure that you grow that seed that's planted in that soil by giving them opportunities, finding ways to get them doing the things that you know they're capable of doing without putting the lid on the growth and development. Parents, all you need to do is be of support and get out there and be a fan and cheer like HE double hockey sticks. Okay? And you can do it. And then now we can win. And somebody else, a younger player, will want to play this game because that's the harmony. It's like a melody. We've got to get that melody back. And but being a dysfunctional family in sports, it hurts everybody. And a lot of times the child can't voice his or her opinion. They don't have help because when they get in the car, dad and or mom team up on the kid, and they don't have an outlet. And when they get out of the car, they act like everything is great, but then that heartbeat of that child, they're hurting. And they want an outlet, and they don't have one. And so there lies a problem. So parents, you have a humongous responsibility. And I just want to ask you, please, let's get it right. Let's correct the things that are out of whack. Let's not be a statistic. All right? Sports is a beautiful pastime for us all. I don't want to see kids quit playing sports and go in a different direction that you would really hate to see them go because they can't get any peace outside of the house when they're trying to play a beautiful sport with their friends. And you help coaches too when you come to games, you go to practices, and you sit and be a fan and cheer with a heart of gladness for everyone. So I hope this helps you a little bit, but remember the golden rule. How do you fix it? The golden rule. It's do unto others, even your child, as you would have them do unto you. Treat people the way you would want to be treated. Say things that are inspiring, uplifting, and encouraging. And do it often. If you can't say anything nice before a game, during the game, or after the game, perhaps zip it. All right? Y'all say that with me. If you can't do those things, zip it. 2 words. Zip it. Zip it. When you open it up and pray. Dear Lord, help me to be a better parent to my child. Help my child to be a better ball player to her team. In Jesus' name, amen.